This man went to jail for 7 counts of first-degree unalive, but didn't unalive anyone. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm your true crime best friend. And today, we're talking about Charles Manson. Charles was born November 12th, 1934 in Cincinnati. His rough upbringing started at birth because his mother was only 16 when she had him, and she was an alcoholic. He was placed in a boys' home at the age of 12. But just as he was beginning to be a teenager, he was committing crimes and going to jail. He spent most of his early years behind bars. After he was released from prison in 1967, he traveled to San Francisco. This is where he started to become friends with people that were like him. He played guitar, loved music, and was heavily into LSD and mushrooms. He started linking up with young girls and began telling them that he was Jesus and that he knew that there was going to be this race war. Eventually, 100 or so people started following him, and they became the Manson family. They were heavily influenced by music and drugs, and would turn to music to incite violence. If only Manson had followed his career in music, I wouldn't be telling this story, but here I am. Now, like I said at the top, Manson didn't unalive anyone, but his cult unalived a reported 35 people, and it could be even more. Now, some of this is unexplainable because it is a drug-fueled mess, but it seems Charles wanted to harm people who failed him in the music industry. Basically, people told him that he wasn't good or didn't sign him, and he had this vendetta. Stephen Parent was the cult's first victim, then the infamous Sharon Tate. Some of the Manson family broke into Sharon Tate's home, took Sharon, who was pregnant at the time, also writer Woodwick Franceschi, I know I am not saying that name right, I apologize, Abigail Folger, and Jay Sebring, sorry. They tied them up and attacked them. All of them were unalived. It was horrific stuff that I cannot say on TikTok. But Manson wasn't happy with this. He said the scene was too sloppy. The next night, Manson took his family, to Los Feliz house, and the couple, Leno and Rosemary LaBanca, were unalived. The family soon got caught, but not for all of this. It was for vandalization of a park. While being questioned, one of the members confessed to all that they had done. This trial was huge. There was a man who was on trial for basically convincing people to do something. This was unprecedented. It was also a spectacle. Manson carved an X into his forehead, and then some of his members also did the same, but they were both in jail and weren't communicating. So that had people wondering what is going on. Charles Manson was convicted on January 25th, 1971, and sentenced to D. You know what I mean. But it was overturned, and he spent the remainder of his life in prison. Some of his followers also were convicted in this crime. Charles Manson died November 19th, 2017. Charles Manson is by far one of the most popular and infamous people in true crime. He fascinates us, and many people have taken that fascination way, way too far. But let's call it what it is. He was a shitty musician who couldn't cut it, and so he was getting revenge on the people who he thought wasn't giving him a chance. He also took advantage of vulnerable people who all they needed was love. And that's all they were searching for. He was also a fumbling, racist mess, to say the least. If you want to hear bigger, longer cases and unheard of cases, please follow my YouTube. I make long form content over there, and it's usually cases that aren't popular. I'm only doing popular cases on TikTok because it's a shorter format. So what do you think about all of this? What do you think about Charles Manson? What do you think about his conviction and his followers' conviction? Tell me all about it in the comments.